Hey friends, we are going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today because it is super necessary. You need an arsenal of power to lose weight and keep it off for life. Willpower, that is. But do I have great news for you today? Best news ever. You can grow it. Isn't that amazing? You can grow willpower. Imagine your prefrontal cortex, that's right here in the front of your brain, like a garden. And that's where willpower grows. You plant it, water it, keep it free from weeds, you fertilize it, and bam, you have a harvest of willpower that you stand back and look at and say, wow, I grew that. That's how willpower works. I've known about growing willpower for almost 40 years, but I didn't know that I knew about it until I read a study from Stanford University, a study on willpower. The course was the most attended community class that Stanford had ever run. I wonder why. Do you think anyone else needs a little bit more willpower? I was fascinated and completely encouraged when I read the study because without knowing it, I had been going about the work of growing willpower for my entire career. I've also been about growing willpower personally for the last 40 years. I work really hard to practice what I preach, and so I have been benefiting from the great work personally and physically growing willpower. We need it for our weight loss for sure, but we need it for so much more. Right now, we need it to stay the course with the pandemic. We need it to build healthy relationships. We need it to help us in our professional lives. We need it spiritually. We need it emotionally. We need it to follow through with boundaries, setting limits. We need it to start projects and finish them. It affects our entire life. Willpower, discipline, consistency, good habits, resolve, self-control, strength of mind, determination, drive, restraint. Anybody need any of that? When I think about life after the healthy way, this study brings peace to me. Because we've got it. We've got the answer. We're going to be all right. We can grow our own willpower. We just have to be willing to do the planting, the cultivating, and then celebrate the results. Celebrate the harvest. Rinse, wash, and repeat. So we're going to talk quickly through the seeds that you plant to grow willpower today. These seeds, you can get them. They're not sold out, and they're not in short supply. Do any of you grow Blue Lake pole green beans? Best ever. Sometimes you can't find them. Those seeds are in short supply. Not so with the seeds you grow willpower with. There's an overabundance. Most of us think that willpower is all about resisting temptation. When people say, I have no willpower, what they usually mean is, I have trouble saying no when my mouth wants to say yes. But think of that as won't power. But just saying no is only a part of willpower. At times, you need to know when to say yes. All those things you put off for tomorrow. Maybe we just need to say yes. Yes to walking out the front door. Yes to prepping some food. Yes to reading a book. Yes to journaling our feelings. Yes. Think of that as willpower. I will and I won't are two sides of self-control, but they don't alone constitute willpower. To be able to say no when you need to say no, and yes when you need to say yes, the ability to remember what you want is the third power. The motivation when it really matters. I want power. That's why it's so important, even in these days, to write down what your intentions are for this time at home. What do you want? Willpower. It's about harnessing these three powers. I will, I won't, and I want. You know the feeling when you really want to accomplish something, but you feel like your brain is fighting against you? It feels like we almost have two minds. We have the one brain that's responsive to our immediate needs. And I believe we're giving in to that part of the brain these days more than ever. We're in that mindset. We tend to make choices that are inconsistent with what our long-term goals are. But we also have that other brain, that different brain that thinks about long-term consequences, remembers what the big values are. It takes kind of the expansive view of our lives. The mindset that says, when this pandemic is over, what will I want to have accomplished? When we are in that mindset, and that part of the brain is in control of our choices, we tend to do things for ourselves that make our future selves happier, more productive, more successful. That's the part of the brain that we need to get in touch with, especially now. So again, many of us think of willpower as the ability to say no, that short-term part of the brain. It's more than that. We've got to tap in to the different types of willpower to help us unleash the long-term parts of our brain. I will power, I won't power, and I want power. I will power is the ability to remember that you want the consequences of doing this difficult thing now, following through with it every day, rain or shine, even when you're feeling down, even when you're not feeling like doing it. I will do it anyway. I won't power is typically what we think of as willpower, the ability to resist temptation. And we need to be doing that as well, setting limits for ourselves while we stay at home. And And that third power, I want power. The ability to walk around the world, or maybe your house, with a clear memory of what it is you care about the most. And you know it's waiting for you on the other side of this outbreak, in this temporary time in history. So if you want to change automatic behavior prompted by the short-term part of the brain, we can't just rely on I won't willpower. That will eventually wear down. How many of you have started diets, quit smoking, stopped some destructive behavior, and thought this time it's going to be different, only to find yourself 4 or 5 days, weeks down the road feeling worn out, seemingly running out of willpower? We can't just rely on I won't power. We have to tap into I will, like I will eat something healthy when I'm tempted to eat something else. I will eat a pumpkin custard instead of a piece of cake. Or we tap into I want power. When I'm tempted to quit this healthy diet, I remind myself of what I want: to see my grandchildren get married, or I want to come out on the other side of this outbreak and have realized some amazing growth in myself. I want to be free of the bondage that weight plays in my life. I want to be a beautiful bride. I want to be a beautiful mother or father of the bride or groom. By doing this, we're tapping into new sources of willpower. and it will make changing those behaviors much easier. In the spring of 2013, I spent 1 week on every one of the seeds, every one of the willpower boosters that Stanford University claimed after they did their study were the boosters that grew our willpower. I'm getting ready to tell all of them to you right now. So take some quick notes, buckle up, and here we go. These are the willpower boosters from Stanford University. Very first one, meditation. Learning to be present, learning to be in this moment grows willpower. Distracted people have less willpower, and man, there are a lot of distracted people these days. Focused people have more. Think about a person that's standing in line at Starbucks and they're on their phone. They get up to the front and they had decided they were only going to get a skinny latte, but by the time they get up to the front, they point to a muffin and say, I'll go ahead and take one of those too. Distracted people have less willpower. Practice meditation, prayer, being still, quieting your mind. Your mind will be stronger, your willpower will be greater. Rewards. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that houses willpower, is engaged and firing when rewards are present more than any other activity. Rewards have been proven over and over to change addictive behavior. You must find pleasure, reward yourself, gift yourself for the little changes you're making. I bet you could make a list of rewards, even at home, that you could extend to yourself as you're losing weight and following through with your new behaviors. Rewards boost willpower. Exercise. Of course, that's on the list. The benefits of exercise have been proven by everyone from medical doctors who call it the miracle drug to psychologists who call it the greatest antidepressant known to man. And now willpower specialists are claiming it as one of the seeds to grow willpower. You tell me how you feel when you go out for a walk and you consider your weight loss program. You feel like, I can do this. Exercise. It grows willpower. Internal processing. Oh, I love this one. Facing your stuff builds willpower. Bottom line, if you face your stuff, if you heal the wounds from your past, if you let go of grudges daily, if you process the stuff going on at home and now in the world and all the unknowns, you won't use food to avoid and stuff and numb. You will have more ability to say yes to the good and no to the bad. Internal processing grows willpower. Revisiting want power was on that list. Knowing what you want builds willpower. That's why I've said you need your goals out in front of you. You need your vision board in front of you. You need to have all your lists in front of you, because when you revisit want power, it helps you remember what it is you really, really want. A big part of willpower. Keeping your blood sugar level grows willpower. Can you see why it would? Maintaining your blood sugar helps your brain and favors that short-term thinking and impulse control. So don't skip breakfast. Plan and eat snacks. Don't go too long without eating. Exercise. It regulates glucose in the body as well. Stay hydrated. A lot of times we mistake hunger for thirst. And this little known fact of diet soda, it's so important to hear this one, it contributes to hunger and overeating and weight gain, diet soda. Because the sweet taste tricks the body into taking up glucose from the bloodstream in anticipation of the blood spike. You're left with less energy, less self-control, while your body and brain wonder what happened to the sugar rush that they were promised. This may be why recent studies show that diet soda consumption is associated with weight gain, not weight loss. Keeping your blood sugar level builds and boosts willpower. Avoid triggers. It reserves willpower. We learned during our study of willpower that we have a limited supply. When we're constantly challenged, tempted, it's more difficult. Avoid situations that cause you to have to call on your willpower. Don't have cookies in a cookie jar on the counter. Goodies sitting in candy jars all around. You're constantly taxing your willpower. You need to avoid those triggers. Clean out your house. Get rid of things. Don't make cookies for the kids that you know are going to tempt you. Your willpower won't be able to sustain it. And I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, that doesn't bother me. And it doesn't bother you for a while. But your willpower won't be able to sustain it. Avoid triggers. And then complete tasks you've been avoiding. I found this so interesting that this is one of the things that grows willpower, because what happens is when you complete a task, you feel so good. So the confidence, right, that you gained makes you feel good, and that compounds on top of another good feeling, and that's what happens. Those photos, the file cabinet, the closets, the garage, the things that we've been putting off, now's a great time to do them. You feel on top of the world when you accomplish a task like that, and it helps you grow your willpower. Meeting your future self. Man, that was a great week when we talked about that. What could you do today that your future self would thank you for? What if we could talk to our future selves? What would we tell them? What if you could look even just into the January of 2021 and say, how do I want to feel when this program's over and I'm stepping into the new year? And Lord, let it be a better new year. I bet you'd say, I wish I would have known things were going to be okay. I wish I would have taken advantage of that time. I wish I would have taken better care of myself. Connecting with that person in the future grows willpower. It really, really does. You have the ability to have strong willpower. You have the power inside of yourself to grow your willpower. You have the tools to take your weight off and keep it off for life. One of the most exciting things about studying willpower is that the Healthy Way has been engaging in every one of these boosters for years. When I heard about Stanford's study on willpower, I was so excited. I was so full of anticipation, knowing that I was going to learn something new and I was going to teach you all about it. Imagine my delight when I found that I have been practicing these willpower boosters for years. The Healthy Way has always known how to grow willpower. The work that I have to do now is to convince you that you know how and that you have everything inside of you to grow and heal and become the healthy person you were meant to be, full of willpower. I will, I won't, and I want. Look at your list this week. See the areas that you have nailed and the areas you need more work on. And choose just one of these to practice this week. You'll find yourself going from one to the other and back and forth, but these need to become a rhythm of your life to grow willpower. We are living through unprecedented times, friends, but you're learning and growing every week. You have everything right inside of you to not only get through this, but to grow through this and come out on the other side better and stronger and healthier than you have ever been. You have the ability to be one of those people that someone else looks at and says they have great willpower. So grow it up, my friends. Plant those seeds. Look forward to cultivating and fertilizing the seeds with you. Keep up the great job. Bye-bye.